We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Non-binary YouTuber Trisha Paytas announces plans to self-fund a 2026 California House run, outlining policies, ideas, and non-binary representation goals nationwide.
How the Golden Globes have repeatedly amplified LGBTQ stories, artists, and milestones shaping mainstream recognition of queer lives.
Genocide scholars warn escalating U.S. anti-trans laws and rhetoric signal early genocide risks, urging urgent action to prevent mass atrocities.
Field data reveals heteroflexible identity surge in 2025, driven by millennials, reflecting growing sexual fluidity and evolving self-identification trends.
A viral video disputes claims in a fatal ICE shooting that killed a lesbian woman, fueling outrage and accountability demands. All this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, and broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming platforms.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBT streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 11 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Thursday, January 8th, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, businesses, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ television stories.
We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fest. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voices as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options Magazine, media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome to the show, Alex, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. It's nice to be back, Rex. And I just want to say I was reading the newspaper in South Florida, and congratulations, Whaite, on being the top most liked anchor in South Florida. So great to see that for you, and I'm so happy she won. And next year, if anyone wants to nominate me for that, I'm more than happy to take that too.
Now let's welcome anchor Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade float design and production, and casting. He is also a board member of the West Side Association. Larry, movie magic under the stars, West Side Story comes to Mickel Park on January 9th. Tell me, what's happening out?
Sure, Rex. The Leisure Services Department invites the community to enjoy movies in the park. West Side Story tomorrow on Friday, January 9th at 7 p.m. at Mickel Park. Bring blankets and lawn chairs and settle in for an unforgettable evening of film under the stars, featuring the classic musical on a 20-foot inflatable movie screen. Snacks and drinks will be available for purchase from the West Side Association of Wilton Manors, making a perfect night for family, friends, and movie lovers of all ages. More details are available at wiltonmanors.gov and also at wam.org, WAWM.org, which I'm a proud board member of. So we will have an expansion to our menu tomorrow at the concession stand. And you know, the story is about the movie, which is a classic, and we're excited about that, telling the West Side story on the west side of Wilton Manors. And everybody, you don't have to be a Wilton Manors resident to come. It's free. But I think the nice thing is you can bring things to eat or drink. But the other thing is we will have alcoholic beverages for purchase, as well as non-alcoholic beverages. And we're expanding our wonderful pizza from Dolce Salato in Wilton Manors to include also snacks and hot popcorn. And the hot popcorn will be free. So free is nice. And I hear there's some chocolate and sweets also there for people who have a sweet tooth.
I mean, I think it's important that, this is a free event to attend, which is really great. And it's community building, which is something, that right now we definitely need. Mm-hmm. And it's South Florida. We have warm weather, so let's take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
But the fact is, it's a free event, and there's not a lot of those out there. So, everybody should get on their bikes, walk over there, get in your car. Now, there is parking at Mickel Park, correct?
Yes. And just so you know, if any of the viewers find that the parking is a little tight, you may want to take an Uber or Lyft. Or the circuit ride in Wilton Manors, but also historically we've also had a shuttle from St. Clement's Church on Andrews Avenue near the corner of Andrews Avenue and Oakland Park Boulevard. So you can check that out and take the shuttle, and it's also just a very short walk over to the park.
Perfect.
Yeah, because it's not the parking there is just a little tight. But like Larry, I always appreciate how much you try to woo me there with booze. That's always the way to do it for me, girl. And like with the weather, if for no other reason to take selfies of you there watching the movie to annoy your friends in the north, that is the main reason to be there, right, folks?
I have a few relatives like that.
Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Movie Magic Under the Stars on January 9th. Now let's welcome Dr. Bobby Huen. A world traveler and well-versed in global affairs, Bobby provides an international perspective on current events. A PhD in conflict resolution, Bobby is a certified civil and family mediator and the founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Thank you, Rex. Hi, everyone. How is your Thursday going?
It's thirsty, let me tell you. And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Rex Rogosch. Rex is a visionary designer with over 30 years of experience in product design, interior design, and architecture. He performs in the drag community as International Lords and is the current reigning Mr. Scandals 2026. Ooh. Rex is the president and co-founder of Latera, a 501c3 organization dedicated to advancing mental health awareness through inclusive community-driven events. Rex, Wilton Onesies Wonderland Bar Crawl returns on January 17th to support mental health awareness. So Rex, tell me, what's happening out?
Oh my God, I couldn't be more excited, Alex. Get back, get comfy, and get back to Wilton Onesie Wonderland Bar Crawl on Saturday, January 17th, starting at 6 p.m. Hosted in Wilton Manors, this playful night invites participants to don their favorite onesies and crawl to local bars, all in support of mental health awareness. Proceeds benefit Lantera, a community-driven organization dedicated to expanding affordable, inclusive mental health resources across South Florida, especially for the marginalized and LGBTQIA+ communities. Come for the fun, stay for the impact, let's crawl for a cause. More details are available at lanterafl.org or on all of our social media platforms. And so this is the 7th year of the onesie crawl. It is one of our largest events. Last year alone had over 500 onesies walking up and down Wilton Manors Drive. But what's really exciting is we've launched this new program called the VIP Impact Bracelet. And what that is it's a $20 donation. And during the night of the crawl, you get different discounts and whatnot at the different bars. But what's even better is we've now launched it to be a year-round VIP bracelet program. We've already gotten a couple of the bars to lock in discounts for all year round if you're wearing your VIP bracelet, and we're trying to expand it to other organizations, to other businesses within actually all of Broward County. So it's a fun night. It's free to attend. You don't have to get a VIP bracelet, but obviously by getting that, you are helping fund our mental health grant program that we launched in 2026. So I cannot wait to see what everybody's wearing. I just got mine yesterday.
Oh, good. I feel like a onesie is going to be so heavy for our weather down here, but it looks really fun. When you told me 500 people running around in onesies in Wilton Manor, then I was just absolutely horrified at what that might look like. But it sounds super. Your events are always way too fun, and that's what I just love about this.
Are there any places you can buy onesies off the rack, or should I get online now and
get online now? I mean, we're 9 days away from the crawl, so yeah. I mean, it is Florida. It's a little hard.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I've done
so much fun.
I've done the Mrs. Roper romp, and I would love to do this, and it's for a good cause.
No, and you should get the VIP pass. I know it's optional, but like, come on, people, you don't want to be that schlep that's not going to actually help the cause.
Well,
okay?
I mean, right now we already have two of the bars on the drive where you get 10% off your bill all year round.
That's awesome.
With having this. So right now it's a $20 donation at the door. The cost of the bracelet will be going up after the event because we keep adding on more people. I was just talking with the Chamber of Commerce today. So it is going to a good cause. It is fun. But I do want to stress that it is a free event. Much like what you guys were saying, we want people to have fun, come kind of disconnect for a little while and learn about the organization. And that's what we're really here about. So,
well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Wilton Onesie Wonderland Bar Crawl on January 17th.
I'm Rex Rogosch, and let's queer up politics. Trish Paytas says she's running for Congress. A YouTuber and podcast host, Trisha Paytas, says she plans to run for a seat in U.S. House Representatives in California. In a YouTube video and on her podcast, Just Trish, Paytas outlined her goals for 2026, including a congressional run. She said, quote, "I would maybe like to run for Congress. I think I can do at least the House of Representatives thing. I want that one. I am being so serious about it, I have to look into it. There's stupider people in Congress," end quote. Paytas said she would self-fund her campaign and begin organizing soon. If elected, she would become the first publicly non-binary member of California's House of Delegation. One issue she highlighted was age limits in adult content. She said, quote, "I really want to do a law that makes it illegal to do adult work if you're not 25, end quote. California's congressional election is set for November 3rd, 2026, with a filing deadline of March 6th. I mean, look, if she wants to run, let her run. However, if she had made some actual intelligent comments in there, I probably would be more apt to go for it, girl. But, unfortunately, we need some intelligent people in politics right now. And this just doesn't seem to be one. And that's all I have to say on it.
I mean, she speaks like a valley girl, which is not that surprising. But look, good for her. She's trying to be civically aware, and that's fine. But her platform is basically more aligned with GOP than Democrats. We're gonna ban porn production.
Right.
Well. And it's a little disturbing that there's no mention of what she's going to maybe do for the LGBTQ communities, other marginalized communities, right. And, turning things around, from the Democratic side. So,
well, she's famous and she identifies with our community. Isn't that enough, Larry? But there are some actual serious issues with the words she said. Her quote, she doesn't think people should do adult work if you are not 25. So one, I'm not entirely sure when she says adult work, what actually she means by that. Is she saying truly adult content, or is she saying prostitution? Or
just being an adult?
Or if you are not 25, so does that mean under 24, above 26? But there's also really good legal reasons why we ban minor images of minors, but not for other images. Partly because the children are abused in creating the product, right. Whereas everything else is a free speech issue. So where you go with that, but clearly. she doesn't think hard about these things, then maybe she should reconsider running for office. But at the same time, like, running for office is a great trial by fire. For stupid people that really think they think well of themselves, running for office is a great, humbling experience.
Problem is we do have stupid people in offices right now, so...
And look at how some of them have actually... Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, for all of her awful. She occasionally is like, wow, this is like real stuff. Like you can tell there's been this weird process going on in her head of like, maybe I've messed up my life. And I find that hilarious to watch.
Well, you know, life is just another YouTube channel around here.
I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up entertainment. A look back at the Golden Globes' most defining LGBTQ moments. Here's a look back at how the Golden Globes Awards, messy, boozy, and often controversial, have also played a meaningful role in LGBTQ visibility. While the Globes have faced criticism for ethical failures and lack of diversity, they've long stood apart as a slightly queerer cousin to the Oscars. With categories spanning film and television, drama and comedy, the show has often made space for out talent and stories, sometimes ahead of the curve. In 1994, Tom Hanks used his win for the movie Philadelphia to acknowledge lives lost to HIV and AIDS, bringing queer grief and resilience to a global stage. The following year, Elton John won his first Globe for the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight, a milestone for an openly gay artist. In 2006, Brokeback Mountain dominated the ceremony, signaling a shift in how queer love stories were recognized. Jodie Foster came out publicly in 2013 while accepting the Cecil B. DeMille Award, and in 2014, Matt Bomer dedicated his win for The Normal Heart to the generations we lost. Most recently, in 2023, Michaela J. Rodriguez made history as the first trans actor to win a Golden Globe, a moment that marked progress even as the show continues to redefine itself. And I think this is all so wonderful and touching, especially as someone who has not seen the Golden Globes in 15 years.
The only last time I saw the Golden Globe was when Ricky Gervais hosted and basically roasted everyone and skewered the Golden Globe organization, which technically is Hollywood Foreign Press Association. That's the lack of diversity, by the way. It's not the winners that lack diversity. It's the voting body that lacks diversity.
But like the foreign press, that's a very complicated, like who gets to be a member of that body. Like there's only so much we can comment on. The one thing, like I will say, like with the Golden Globes, they do tend to be better than the Oscars, and I think the Oscars are quickly becoming even more irrelevant than the Golden Globes.
Look, I think the Golden Globes is more like a parody of a show. Yeah, I'm still winning it as an honor, but on the other hand, it's not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, the TV has the Emmys, Oscar dominate the movies, and Golden Globes kind of straddle in between that, and no one takes them seriously.
Well, I mean, like, if it's not a big deal, how many Golden Globes have you won?
Well, I'm so sorry that it has
like just
and how many have you won?
I didn't say it wasn't a big deal. I just said I don't think they're relevant in pop culture the way they used to be. Like the Oscars, I think went to YouTube, and when they did that, it was like kind of like, well, that's kind of the end.
I think they just
Oscars.
announced that. Yeah, they're going on to YouTube.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's an award given to somebody for doing their job, voted on by a body of people. So, I mean, I mean, if we want to get all philosophical, we don't have the time for that today. I mean, awards in general are just made up, casualties to pat people on the back. So, I mean, the people who won the awards, great, and what they want to do with those awards is even better. If they want to use it as a platform to spotlight something that needs to be spotlighted, like Tom Hanks did,
yes,
100% go for it. And if you just want to grab the award and say peace out, that's your business too. So,
I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up trans rights. Experts warn the U.S. is entering the early stages of a trans genocide. Experts in genocide prevention are warning that the United States is showing early signs of a genocide against trans and non-binary people. The Lemkin Institute, a global genocide prevention organization, says escalating political attacks on trans, non-binary, and intersex Americans could lead to a mass atrocity. Multiple genocide scholars, including 2 former presidents of the International Association of Genocide Scholars, say U.S. policies could soon make life for trans people intolerable. Former IAGS president Dr. Henry Thoreau says political shifts to the right have enabled what he called a blatant hatred towards trans people. Thoreau said, quote, "I think we're already at the point for trans folks, for immigrants, where the damage is being done." So it's not so much will genocide happen as we've got to stop it from happening, end quote. In 2025 alone, 616 anti-LGBTQ plus bills were introduced across the U.S., most targeting trans people. Advocates warn that this rhetoric and policy push is rapidly escalating and could turn deadly if left unchecked. Well, doing a little research on this story, this is not the first time we've been in this in our history, going back to Nazi Germany, doing a little research. There was actually an Institute for Sexual Science founded by Magnus Hirschfeld over 106 years ago. And unfortunately, we all know what happened, unfortunately, during the Holocaust. And unfortunately, people who were trans or intersex or part of our LGBTQ community, which was not called that at the time, were often sent out to the concentration camps. And so, you know, it's scary that history can repeat itself. You know, I remember being in school as a young elementary school and middle school and high school, and having history teachers talk about not letting histories repeat themselves. And here we are. And, you know, it's terrible. It's eye-opening. I think, you know, hopefully, you know, we'll see some changes. I know there's a lot of positive things coming out, and we have a lot of positive players. You know, I'm proud to align myself as a volunteer working on a multimedia film company with Marriott's Mary Productions with, you know, Candace Kane and Dana Davis, and there are many other wonderful people in our community who make us proud, but I think we can't get too comfortable.
I mean, you just said that we can't get too comfortable. I think also the problem is I mean, while our government is cyclical, right? You know, we vote people in, we vote people out. Unfortunately, the time that passes, even if you vote some of the people out and they try to reverse what has happened, the sentiment in the general public is already there. And I think what's most dangerous, and why this is interesting talking about genocide, is we're not talking about an actual, you know, government body or a person or a general, you know, rounding up the trans people and putting them in concentration camps. What we're talking about is that the rules and regulations that are going in effect are giving fodder and giving normal everyday people kind of the, oh, well, I can go and do this because it's no longer going to...
It's normalizing the abuse.
Correct.
Normalizing discrimination, normalizing abuse, make it seem okay for everyday Americans or everyday person to basically aim their ire at trans people or intersex people or or in general gay and lesbian, bi, and etc.
And that's even more dangerous.
Yes.
So there is a difference between awful acts being done to a community and genocide. You know, we do have to understand that there are legal definitions when dealing with genocide, but from, like, just to start, like someone with a graduate degree in political science, looking at, like, there's the legal definition, there's also the public perception definition, and I'm not shocked that the people using this language are not LGBTQ rights or trans rights activists, because the world just saw a genocide portray on our phones just over the last 3 years in Palestine. It was a very violent butchering, you know, there were images of kids trying to find their buried grandparents in rubble. 2 Israeli organizations documented how it was genocide. That is a very different image than what trans people are experiencing bad things here. They're not experiencing that, and I fear that, like, using the term right now, even to just talk about a potential genocide, is going to land very inappropriately. It's too, you know, there's bad things that could happen. Genocide is not the right word in this case.
I hear what you're saying, Alex, but I think we need to step back and say, how far is it going to go? I mean, whoever thought in this time we live in that we'd see what we're seeing? I mean, you know, just the ridiculousness of who's running our country and people supporting that, intelligent people or supposedly educated and intelligent people supporting a leader who has people just blindly following him.
But genocide is specifically an attempt to fully wipe out a community. It's not just kill them.
I'm going to bite my tongue because I'm going to at least agree with Alex. I think we do have to be careful of what we call things. One, we don't want to incite additional hysteria. It's not to minimize what's going on, because what is going on is an atrocity, and what is going on could potentially have could be bad. So I do agree with you. It's not genocide. What they're saying is that it could be genocide, which
I mean, anything could be anything. Correct. If we're going to get down to it.
Agreed. Like, do we still need to do something about it? Absolutely. Do we need to stand up and start taking action against the laws and rhetoric that is happening? Absolutely. Do we need to start educating our neighbors who maybe say something snide or cross? Absolutely. But I do agree with Alex. We need to be careful in the way we phrase things, and we just need to call facts, and at this point, not try to, what I like to call ourselves, future fuck ourselves, because if we start calling something, then we end up sometimes getting there. And so I think everybody at the table is right. I think everybody has that notion that something is wrong and something needs to be done. But I think we need to be careful on some of the terms we put towards what's going on.
Well, certainly, I think our strength is also to present facts, do our research. And, I hear your points. Using the word genocide might be strong, certainly at the point that we're in history. But the fact that there's some parallels going back, I mean, I don't have the exact name of the organization, but there were women's rights groups who were saying the same things they're saying now about, trans women being in sports and hyper masculine and hyper feminine and, just the judgments that were out there, not letting people in Berlin of all places live their lives. And they were eradicated. And I know we're not there yet.
That's the unfortunate thing is there's a difference between evil and genocide.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that what's happening to the trans community is not a targeted attempt to harm the community. I'm not saying it's not evil. It is. It's just genocide is a very specific term. These are experts in genocide, so they know that it's a specific term, even more so than I do. And so that's why I'm kind of like pushing back on them with this. It's like, you need to do a little bit more documenting how you feel like this is connected to it, but also like there really is, like, in our modern world, I really fear that not only are people more skeptical of the word genocide, but we were talking about normalizing. The current president and the last president both just helped make genocide a normal, okay thing on the international stage. It's scary to see what's happening in Sudan as well, but like, if we start saying it, I fear there's also the issue of that, well, then that makes it okay, because on the world stage, we're now starting to see awful things be okay. Like, I'm really scared about what we're going to do to the people of Venezuela, Cuba, Greenland, and possibly Canada. Like, they're all going to possibly be fitting the G definition as well if the current leader has his way. It's a very scary time, and I don't want to throw extra kindling on that today. Oddly, normally I want to do that, but today, I'll be calm for once.
Yeah. And I guess one last point, and I hear what you gentlemen are saying, but, I personally know people who identify in the trans community, and it's a big mental health issue. And when you 100%. Know people who have the right and have earned their place here, and they vote and they contribute to society, contemplating leaving our country for mental health reasons, or worried that they're not going to have an outlet for having a career or working or being comfortable in their own community, even somewhere like Wilton Manors, Florida, you have to step back and look at that.
Yeah.
100%. And I don't think either of us are saying that. But leaving the country and eradicating all trans people are two different things.
And I understand.
I think that's where the slippery slope is, because I 100% agree. I have plenty of friends who are trans, and we have these conversations on a regular basis, especially with my organization, and it is troubling. And there's no other word for that as troubling. But to pony up what Alex said, we don't want to throw kindling on the fire. Because unfortunately, these rules, these regulations, all of this stuff that's being put into place by our current administration, both at local, state, and national level, are giving the normal, everyday people this kind of backbone, as it were. And so if we start adding more of these terms and stuff on it, it makes it, in some of these people's mind, okay.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
There's also this thing that, like, the way the term genocide is created, and it's more useful for communities that are not self-identifying LGBTQ. So, like, a key part of it is like wiping out the children of people. So like it's more useful when talking about ethnic groups than it is about LGBTQ identification. That's the other part of this, which makes it a little wonky and a very hard fit pack. Like we should be talking about like we should be preventing attacks on trans people.
100%.
I'm Bobby Huen, and let's queer up gay culture. Dating app data shows Heteroflexible emerges as fastest growing sexuality of 2025. New data from Field, a dating app for curious and open-minded individuals, shows that Heteroflexible was the fastest growing sexuality of 2025. The app reports that Heteroflexible identification grew by 193% over the past year. Millennials made up nearly 2/3 of Heteroflexible members, accounting for 65% of the total. Gen Z follows at 18%, with another 15.5% attributed to Gen X growth. Field also found that switching between identifying as straight and heteroflexible is one of the most common sexuality shifts on the app. Heteroflexible typically describes someone who is primarily attracted to a different gender, but is also open to same-gender attraction or experiences. It's often understood as a form of sexual fluidity and sometimes discussed as a subcategory of bisexuality. Dr. Luke Burning, lecturer in applied ethics at the University of Leeds, said, quote, "For some, heteroflexible will describe accurately how they experience attraction or typically behave. For others, it might be more of a promise to self, something they want to look into further, explore, or which they hope they will be in a position to experience in the future," end quote. He also cautioned that heteroflexibility can be viewed negatively. And I'm going to launch right after Dr. Brunet and say that I am not... While I get it, that it's basically straight people experimenting. That's what we're calling it now, heteroflexibility. You know, so basically, you know, if you're with a couple of frat bros and you do the bro job, like that's heteroflexibility now.
I think it's more than that, because I mean, most people are familiar with the Kinsey scale. If they're not, look it up. I mean, I've had neighbors that I've become friends with. They were, you know, heterosexual, but throughout getting to know them, there was an attraction between us. It wasn't necessarily sexual. There was something there that the straight guy was like, you know, you're the first guy that da 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 da. So everybody on the planet experiences that to some degree. The fact that we have to label it, I think, is stupid.
Can I just talk about how, Rex, that was the best flex of how you can recruit men of any sexuality. I love it.
Kudos to Rex.
Absolutely.
Oh, hell,
No, I mean, look,
the seducer of straight men.
the Kinsey scale, you know, most people do not land at 0 or 6. They're at 1 to 5. So even if you have anybody at this table has ever looked at a woman and said, wow, she is beautiful and there's just something about her, okay, then you're not a pure gay man, according to Kinsey. So this heteroflexibility thing, to me, just is, again, us putting a label on something because we have to, but it's a normal part of life. You know, you're talking about bro jobs, we're talking about gay men, we're talking about the gay man who was once married to a woman and had no problem with having sex with a woman, but decided he wanted to have sex with men more, or vice versa. I mean, we all have some sort of fluidity within our life.
It also concerns me that, you know, this kind of labels a new heteroflexible. This is not new. There used to be a site literally called heteroflexible.com. Don't ask me how I know. No. But,
wrong flexibility.
But it's, you know, the thing about it is that, is that like the transitional step of like like peeking out of the closet door, or are we talking?
I would say no. So this is like my biggest disagreement with how heteroflexible was portrayed. Because like, one, I do think there is nothing gay about two guys touching each other who are both straight. I mean that in both like a fun way, like hi boys, but also in like a it's perfectly fine for two guys to still be straight after touching each other. But like when they said heteroflexibility was a subcategory of bisexual, I'm like, I think the subcategory of straight, and the reason why is if you're heteroflexible, if that's your, aka you're probably in some form of a heteronormative situation. If shit hits the fan in this country, as we were discussing in another piece about what, you're magically going to be straight again, and you're going to be completely safe. So that's like there's a serious issue of like, one, it's perfectly fine. Boys touch each other, have fun. You know, if you're hot and over 18, you know, call me, call Rex apparently. You know, but like remember that like you're not like you're not queer, and like not to like
sort of
try and take our turf.
I mean, for you know, right?
Well, no, because down low is
a very specific.
It depends on how they're using the term.
Agreed, because down low typically is, you know, they tend to lean more towards being queer than straight. They just leave a very heteronormative life publicly, and privately they, you know, and I think that's the bigger issue, is that we really do need to start talking about sex and sexuality and gender. They're all so very separate. You know, having, and this is, you know, science, it's, you know, having male on male sex happens throughout animal kingdom, and we are animals, you know, biologically. So that doesn't make those animals gay. You know, having the relationships, the feelings, the emotional ties, that's what makes you gay. So like you said, I mean, how many boys when they're coming out of puberty go, oh, what's that? You know, it is normal. And so, I mean, if this helps normatize that, I guess I'm for it. But to me, it's just another person to wave another flag at Pride Parade that we don't need.
Wait, can we talk about that? Who made the heteroflexible flag, and why does it look like the tester when you test a print?
Oh, yeah.
When you use the old printers, when you need to print something, the different colors. Like, what happened, kids? How did that happen?
I'm Rex Rogosch, and let's queer up the USA View. Quote, they killed my wife, end quote. The LGBTQ community seeks answers after ICE shooting in Minneapolis. A newly circulating video is intensifying scrutiny of a deadly federal shooting during a major immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis, one that's shaken communities across the country. In the video, a woman sits in the snow with her dog, visibly distraught, saying immigration and customs enforcement agents shot and killed her wife, 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good. The woman sobbed, saying, quote, they killed my wife. I don't know what to do. We stopped to videotape and they shot her in the head, end quote. Good was killed Wednesday morning during what Department of Homeland Security called the largest immigration enforcement surge ever in Minneapolis, involving about 2,000 agents. DHS says an agent fired defensive shots after allegedly a vehicle was weaponized, calling the incident self-defense. But multiple videos appeared to contradict that account, showing an SUV attempting to leave before shots were fired. Civil rights groups nationwide are now demanding accountability. If you haven't heard about this story yet, you will. I listened to a lot of the news today, and I was appalled, is the best word, to hear our government defending the gentleman who shot this woman. And the defense that they were using was even more appalling. They said that he was triggered because not but 30 some days ago, he was hit by another car in another incident and had stitches and everything, and that this was a logical defense move for somebody who had been hit and struck by a car before.
Worse than that, Christina outright came out to label the victim a domestic terrorist, saying
claiming that she was trained. They're claiming that she was a terrorist trained to do this.
The right-wing news cycle has already called her a paid agitator. That she is, she is paid. She is deliberate. She is a terrorist.
Because I quote tweeted on Blue Sky the actual clip. She literally claimed that she was the left is training people to hit ICE agents with their car. That is what she says, which I found a little funny, because isn't that what Ron DeSantis used to encourage people to do to protesters? But that's another story. This was something that I view as murder, and I believe this killing should be the thing that gets us all so angry that we finally get out on the streets and stop this. There is no we're past any point of logic at this point, people. The crimes that are being committed to immigrants in detention centers is starting to look like serious attempts to end people's lives. We're seeing them. They came to Minnesota, by the way. and did this whole thing because of an alleged Somali gate, like alleged fraud, which
was
has been found to be
produced by a right-wing agitator who literally just want to smear Tim Walz and his campaign.
And they've used it as an excuse to go and harass yet another community, and we are not seeing states do enough to fight this. Like, they have their own police forces. Why are they not providing protection? Why are they're saying, well, the FBI has taken over the investigation. There's nothing we can do. Says who? Luigi allegedly shot and killed someone in New York. The state and federal both did their own charges. Why not do your own charges? Why just press charges and figure out where it goes? You know, that's
from what I understand from the press, these two women were dropping off their son at school, and this happened immediately afterward. So it doesn't sound like a premeditated thing. I mean, let's do the checklist. I'm going to drop my son off. Oh, I'm going to commit a premeditated crime. Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's now even kept going. You know, they're having protests and they're having vigils at a school. And there was a person who went to this vigil because they thought they would be protected, because they were like, oh, ICE isn't going to show up at a school. And ICE just recently showed up at that school and maced people, including students and teachers. So, you know, I have a lot of problems, but the biggest problem that I have is that we're using justifications for poor and bad behavior that don't equate. So again, now we're on this slippery. We've already been on a slippery slope. I mean, this thing's greased with Crisco, and we're barreling on ice skates with this. But now we're using not a local government, not a mayor, not a state government. The federal government and the president of the United States is using justification of bad behavior to say, no, he did this in self-defense. When every video, every smartphone, every body cam, everything, and even the local law enforcement said her tires were going the wrong direction, that like just that alone, people are saying no. Professionals are saying no.
But the point isn't truth. The point is to remind us all that they will do whatever they want. No, it's past gaslighting. We're now at the next stage, which is going to be, we can do whatever we want with impunity. That's why we really have to understand that this is bigger than, you cannot vote this situation out. You have to go so much farther. We have to start thinking about things like national strikes and thinking about, we might have to think about bringing this country to a whole new place of activism and protest and resistance that we've never done before, because guess what? It's not going to end with this woman.
Correct.
And that should terrify us all.
And they were saying in the news, like, these ICE agents are there and they have immunity. Like, he is saying
impunity, not just immunity, literally just they can do whatever the hell they want.
And we're talking about deputized people that don't have proper training. No. We're talking about people that they put in here that are basically now legalized vigilantes.
Well, we've never been the best at training police forces in this country. And I will say that police have done similar awful actions. What's different is the coordinated attack on the population.
Look, I'm not,
that is the new fix.
I'm not saying that law enforcement is perfect. They aren't. However, they at least have training. Some of these people are deputized, are moved into these positions without any training. Do you know how to shoot a gun? Okay, here. And they're allowed to wear masks. There's just so many things that they're being allowed to do, and not even allowed to do. They're being instructed, physically instructed to do by our federal government. So you're right. We're past the point of voting this out, because not even the midterm elections is going to stop this, because we already see that our administration is doing whatever they want to do. Period. And I think you're right. This is time. It's time to stand up and link arms and sit down and do nothing. Close all the businesses. Close everything. We might all have to eat top ramen and turn the lights off. But
you look at places like France and other nations that dealt with going down this road. It's either that, or we're all going to have to start painting face paint and go into the woods and pretend we're Che Guevara. And I'm just bad at that, kids. I'm like. We have to start thinking about more than just, the No Kings rallies were cute, but we now have to think about a little bit more civil disobedience and more like disrupt the economy style things. Because guess what? If Jeff Bezos can't make any money, magically ICE might not kill people anymore. Isn't that awful how that might work in this country? But that is how it tends to work in this country.
But we now have a class of capitalist oligarchs who are no longer, you cannot really face them. Larry Ellison owns Oracle and Paramount. Okay, we can stop watching Paramount, we can stop boycott all their movies, but Oracle, how are we going to protect, make
if
Oracle
we
less
start doing
money?
things like national strikes where no one shows up to work, even if for like the whole country shuts down, that will freak out. That's brought down governments in other countries.
I mean, it did help. It did help with some of the tariff stuff. I mean, I deal with it on a regular basis for work, and then some major companies did step in and said, "Hey, your tariffs aren't working," and we saw some reverses. So there is some pushback, but unfortunately, we are talking about
Human lives, not just
yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
But we're also talking about a minority of people that have to get their butt into gear. Because unfortunately it's going to take the majority, like we're talking about a massive shutdown of everything to then make the few people who have the purse strings. And it's sad to think that, all human life is garnered by the human dollar. But that's what we're looking at right now. And
Well, remember, to the people that think about this, you could be next. You really could be next, because this was people who had nothing to do with the situation, and
Correct.
they may have pulled over to take a video.
Innocent bystander.
And if you have somebody approaching you without any kind of identification on and a mask, your reaction is going to be what it is.
Yeah, I would be like, I'm out of here
But
too.
you know that they're already spinning it. The reason that this nice white woman got killed is because there are minorities in your neighborhood. Kick them out and we won't bother you. And you know what? Half the cowards are going to kick the minorities out. Doesn't matter if you know them.
Yep. Well, everybody, be careful out there. LGBT 1 Minute News, let's queer up the worldview. Bake Off star John Whaite hospitalized after car hit. John Whaite, winner of the Great British Bake Off and Strictly Come Dancing finalist, was rushed to hospital after being hit by a car. Posting on Instagram, he said, quote, "Last night I got run over. Seriously, some angel of a human threw his coat around me and waited with me for an ambulance," end quote. Whaite later reassured fans, quote, "I've been scanned and poked and prodded and I'm okay. Still gay though," end quote. Well, we wish him a speedy recovery so he can bake me something when he's done, because he did wonderful on British Bake Off, and he's very yummy to look at, and I'm sure his treats are very yummy as well.
No, it is a sad story, but I too, I'm glad that he let us know that after being poked and prodded, he's still gay, as would we all. LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up trans rights. After a brutal 2025, signs of hope for trans Americans in 2026. 2025 was devastating for trans people, marked by executive actions, court rulings, and shrinking protections that made daily life harder and more dangerous. As 2026 begins, many are exhausted, relocating, and wondering how much more they can endure. Still, there are signs of change. Anti-trans campaigns are losing elections, Republican unity is cracking, and Democrats are growing more vocal. With midterms approaching and power already shifting in Congress, for the first time in a while, hope feels grounded in reality. And, I can be a little bit of a doomer on a lot of subjects in this show, but, I've always felt that the arc for LGBTQ and trans rights is still going to get back into the right direction. I know I say that from the privilege of not being trans, but I do have this hope. I don't know where it comes from when it comes to this, but I have hope on this.
I also want to remind everyone that, don't lose hope in general. We don't want, people are speculating, and hopefully prayerfully we hope for blue wave that will sweep the Congress and make sure that our rights are somewhat protected from the tyranny of this administration. However, in the past story we keep saying that they just act with impunity, they don't care. At some point we have to make them care, and therefore don't slack off. Go vote. Go be an activist. Go encourage other people to vote. Go advocate for the rights and for the rights of our own people and others that are less privileged than we are.
And I would say stay close. Mm-hmm. You can change the mind of your neighbor and that's one extra vote. You can change the mind of, a relative or a friend. Sometimes being activist doesn't necessarily mean standing on the corner and yelling. Sometimes it means having a conversation around your dining room table over coffee. And that's sometimes even more important than, being loud.
And sometimes the change of mind isn't always about a vote. Changing a mind to respect queer people, trans people as people is a big deal too.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up politics. Trump on the money. Republicans eye a $250 bill with his face. Right-wing media reports the Trump administration is considering a $250 bill with Donald Trump's face on it, breaking with the U.S. tradition of only honoring the deceased on paper money. U.S. Treasurer Brandon Beach called the Daily Caller, quote, "When Trump appointed me to the job, I told him I wanted to do a $250 bill with his picture on the 250th birthday celebration." Democrats moved to block living presidents on currency, but Republicans control Congress. Well, if we know Trump is a narcissist. We know many of the people in the administration are. It's disgusting. I cannot think of anybody in relatively recent history, I'm talking about the last few hundred years, doing that. But what a smack in the face of our country, 250 years celebrating I'm old enough to remember the bicentennial. I was a kid. But to put yourself in that position and think it's okay, it's disgusting.
Yeah, on the other hand, it is a brilliant monument for the absurd inflation and the cost of living crisis that we're having. That's the $100 Ben Franklin is no longer enough, that we must now have $250 bills just to make ends meet. Bigger the denomination, the more runaway. I mean, no one remember, Germany in the 1930s, runaway inflation,
that was a slightly different situation that led to the inflation, Bobby. But on this one, there is the issue of who uses paper cash? I know some people seriously use paper cash, but Trump is always behind on the times, and putting your name on your face on paper, I feel is pathetic.
And all that orange ink, my God.
But at the same time, this came from the Daily Caller, which is not a very trustworthy outlet. When I was at Media Matters, you knew you were finally a true researcher who'd been there for a decent amount of time, truly past your trial period. When the Daily Caller did it, made fun of you in an article. That's when you knew it, because it's a crap rag. It's just a crap rag. But also, the idea that, we should be putting him on any money like this is absurd. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But knowing the Democrats, they will block it by putting Ronald Reagan on the $250
and look
bill.
how well his name has been on the Kennedy Center and what it's done for the audiences there.
That's a national monument. That is stealing. You're going to get me on a whole tangent. I'm going to shut up now.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up drag culture. Cardi B shouts out to the dolls on Drag Race. Cardi B is celebrating her transgender glam squad after guest judging the January 2nd premiere of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18. On Untucked, she declared, quote, "These are the dolls. I can't live without them." Literally, end quote. Praising hairstylist Tokyo Styles and makeup artist Erica LePere. Cardi says she's learned a lot from the drag and trans community. Contestants thanked Cardi for uplifting trans women of color, calling this movement major, especially as other hip-hop stars face backlash over anti-trans remarks. Oh no, if you build your brand on, having the trans aesthetic at the very least, then maybe you should not abandon your trans sisters just so that you can get your pardon for your child molesting boyfriend. Or the rapist brother. Just saying, Miss Minaj.
Oh, I was are you talking about Nikki? Anywho, first off, I think this was wonderful. I've said that RuPaul's Drag Race needed, to do things to stay relevant. Getting Cardi B on was absolutely a great idea. And, can I just go on a little LGBTQ 1 minute tangent for a second and just say Cardi B is literally the prophet of our times. Anytime she says just random off the cuff stuff, it is always unusually wise but slightly ditzy, and someone needs to put that into a book one day. That might be my life's goal. The Bible according to Cardi B.
Yeah,
it would be amazing.
The world according to Cardi B.
Yes.
Yeah, let's get
it. It has to do it, kids.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Cher reflects on gay roommates, Sonny Bono, and a special arrangement with David Geffen. Cher opened up about her early life and relationships in a new interview on the Armchair Expert podcast. The pop icon recalled living with a gay roommate at 16. While living there, she met Sonny Bono, who was drawn to her roommate. When that living situation ended, Cher moved in with Bono. Years later, Cher befriended then closeted music executive David Geffen, who helped her recognize how Sonny controlled her finances. Geffen urged her to leave. Cher dated Geffen in the 70s. When asked about their relationship, though, Cher explained, quote, "I was the first person that he had feelings for, so we had a special arrangement," end quote. I mean, look, we all know that, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, queer stories, most of the men were closeted, and there were things happening out there. It doesn't surprise me that Cher, who's been around for how many decades now, and
we can talk about that,
and has dated how many people now and been married to how many people, of course she's going to come across this type of stuff. And, it's not surprising. And it's great that she's, openly talking about it and normalizing it. Again, we keep talking about normalizing these types of stories and making it just part of our everyday dialogue.
Cher, this is going to be news to queer people. Cher is a legend. And part of her being such an epic legend is her interviews are always wildly cool and crazy things always come up. A little LGBTQ 1 minute fact for everybody. I remember one time she was being interviewed about the Mamma Mia. She was in Mamma Mia 2. Anywho, she was like, "Oh yeah, I got a call from my former assistant. He's the president of NBC or parent, one of the biggest presidents in the business at this point. Just called her, oh, you're going to do this movie. It's going to be great for you." She's like, "Okay, sure." I'm like, she just casually drops it random super important people. That's just her personal assistant. Former person, "Oh yeah, Bobby or Billy or whatever,
I mean,
that's
when you've been around as much as she has, there's not a story that she can't tell, and I'm glad that she's here to tell them.
So we need a Cher oral history project.
Absolutely. I'm Rex Rogosch, and let's queer up entertainment. Queer News Tonight anchor Faye What sat down with legendary writer and humorist Bruce Vilanch. They discussed his return to the stage and a special reading of his new play, Captain Showbiz, at Gray Box Theater. Watch their conversation to find out about the show dates, the story behind his return, and more.
All right, y'all. Yes, pinch me because I am absolutely just wild about the fact that I am with Bruce Vilanch today. And no, this is not a fantasy, not a fever dream. I don't have COVID or a very niche pride raffle prize. This is really happening, folks. All right. Bruce Vilanch is an Emmy Award-winning writer, comedian, actor, and full-blown cultural icon whose voice has been woven into the fabric of American entertainment for more than 5 decades, which means if you have laughed in public since the 1970s, this man probably owes you money. And I just made him laugh. Oh my God. He's the longtime head writer of the Academy Awards, the person responsible for some of the most glamorous, audacious, and occasionally panic-inducing Oscar nights in freaking history. And if you've ever watched an award show and thought, wow, that joke was funny and dangerous, that was Bruce. That was Bruce, okay? He's written for actual legends, Bette Midler, Cher, Diana Ross, Lily Tomlin, Barbara Streisand, Patti LuPone, basically every diva who requires jokes with sequins and a safety net, okay? On Broadway, television, film, on stage, and backstage, Bruce has spent decades making smart people laugh and powerful people nervous. And long before it was safe, sponsored, or hashtagged, he was out. He was visible. And unapologetically an ally, a queer person, using humor not just to entertain, but to freaking survive. So yes, I am here with Bruce Vilanch, and I had a huge intro because it's freaking Bruce Vilanch, Emmy winner, Oscar survivor, queer icon, and somehow still the funniest dude under anywhere. To be completely honest, it's Bruce Vilanch, all right? Bruce, welcome to the Faye What Show.
Wow, I'm going to go home and sleep with myself.
Listen, I'm a lesbian and I'm about to sleep with you.
Okay, I'm available. what an introduction. Holy, well, okay.
Well, listen, no pressure, but I wrote that shit myself.
I understand.
I mean, you're like one of the greatest writers, if not the greatest writer in history. Like, how does that make you feel?
Not the greatest writer in history.
Dude, give yourself some flowers, okay?
All right, I will allow it.
You know, I was thinking that when I wrote your intro, I'm like, you know, this is too freaking long, but who cares? You know, Bruce, you've been interviewed everywhere.
Yeah.
But be honest. How does it feel being with this lesbian here at this table right now?
Oh, well, it's exciting. I was going to say we were going to do it in bed, but I had surgery and I can't really get into the bed, which was because the last time was Rita Moreno in about 91.
Oh my God, another Latina. So I'm glad to understand that you only.
I know you're probably not watching, but if you are, kidding.
Hey, Rita Moreno, if you're watching this, I'm just gonna derretirme right here. But how dope would it be that you went from Rita to me, from one Latina to another?
I know exactly. Bypassing Cheetah and and all of them. I mean,
all of them.
Charo. I mean, I've known all of them and worked with all of them, but no, I haven't been in bed with any of them. But however,
you got out of being in bed with me by throwing yourself down some stairs. I get it.
I know.
I get it.
I was thrown, but I cannot discuss it. There's there's a case.
You know, you could just say that it was a sex accident.
It was
Bruce.
a sex accident. I love that expression, a sex accident. Like,
but
that's generally, you went home with the wrong person. But there's nothing more than that. Anything more than that is assault or felony or something like that.
Or something like that. I mean, come on, your book is called, what is it? If I would have...
It seemed like a bad idea. It was a bad idea at the time. It seemed like a bad... What is my book? It seemed like a bad idea at the time. About how I wrote the worst TV shows in history and lived. And the first Oscar show that I did in 1989 was the famous as Rob Lowe and Snow White, and it's the last chapter in the book. I've written a play about that show and about a fictionalized version of a lot of other things that happened, and I'm going to play it. I get to play it at a theater here in Wilton Manors.
Oh my God! And we can't wait to talk about that. That's actually going to be at Gray Box Theater in Wilton Manors, folks.
Coming up this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be yes, it's happening Friday and Saturday, and you do not want to miss it for sure. It's going to be Friday at 8 p.m. at Gray Box Theater and Saturday at 2 p.m. It's going to be the live read of Captain Showbiz, and people will be able to see this firsthand before it goes anywhere else.
It's an experiment for the audience. I mean, they get to see this thing for the first time read in front of live people, and we'll see if it works.
It will work.
If it works, we'll put it on stage and we'll get costumes and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, this will be actors with music stands and scripts, but good actors, and we'll see if the material's funny.
Oh, and it's going to be funny, and we'll get to more of that in a second, because I got Bruce here, so I've got to take advantage of the fact that he's here. Take him.
Take me.
Bruce, you were out in Hollywood long before it was fashionable.
Yes.
Or before it was safe, to be completely honest. Did you ever imagine that you'd become an LGBTQ plus icon by just being you?
Now, the idea of being an LGBT plus, and we keep adding letters, L, Y, D, W, T, F, B, Y, O, B. I mean, I've lost track of how many identities we now have. The prospect of being an icon was not there. It wasn't on the table. I mean, there wasn't a kind of an above-board gay culture that would foster that kind of thing. So no, I had determined. I'd read a book by a historian named Merle Miller, actually an interview that he gave about a book, and he was out, and the New York Times asked him, "What is it? Is it difficult being out?" And he said, "Well," he said the word faggot. He said a faggot is a homosexual gentleman who has just left the room.
Wow.
And I read that and I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to be that faggot. I'm going to be the one who says, you can't call me a faggot because I'm sitting here at a table talking to you. I am one of you. I am a professional writer like you are. And it stood me in good stead. And I'm sure there were jobs I missed out on back in the day because people were homophobic and afraid. But I have a feeling I wouldn't want to work with those people anyway. And so that was kind of my North Star. I just kept saying, I'm not going to hide. And I'm lucky that I'm in a business that encourages creativity, eccentricity, flamboyance, and there were a lot of gay people who were just not out formally, and that was because gay at the time was equated with evil. You were a bad person, you were going to commit suicide, you were going to have a bad end, and every movie you did, that was what happened. And so nobody wanted to think that a guy like Paul Lynde, who made them laugh, they didn't want to think that he was gay. They knew he was gay.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to think about him in those terms because those terms were very severe. And that's what coming out as a nation brought to us, the idea that we are actual people and not just abstract items that you can hate just for the hell of it.
Just for the hell of it, you know. And I was going to ask you if there was something that you had lost because of being unapologetically you. And like you said, some jobs probably you did lose. I mean, and and again, things happen for us, not to us.
Right.
I'm a firm believer of that those jobs were not meant to come across your lovely face, Was there a moment when you realized, I have to do this. If not me, then who? I am going to continue to be who the hell I am no matter what.
Well, pardon me, it got kicked into high gear when AIDS happened. Because at that point, we were not just identifying ourselves politically, but we were saving our lives. And, I lost hundreds and hundreds of people. And
survivor's guilt?
I'm sorry?
Do you have survivor's guilt?
No, I don't have survivor's guilt. I mean, I think I have survivor's wonder. Like, how did that happen? And a lot of it was how you behaved. It's a sexually transmitted disease, which is why in Africa it's heterosexual mostly, and in this country it caught on with gay people. So I didn't have that kind of guilt, but I had not guilt, but I had motivation because so many of my friends were.
Passing away.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I had a friend who was a real dark side guy who, like, one of those guys who would go into third world situations to have a good time. You don't want, where they hose you down with a water cannon, that. And he favored slings. Okay. And one night he called me and he said, "That's it, I'm going celibate." And I said, "Celibate? Isn't that a bit severe?" He said, "It's better than nothing." And what I understood was, if he couldn't be in the sling, he might as well not be doing it at all.
That's it.
Yeah. So I kind of thought, I understand your position. That was that was not my position, but people had to change and adapt and all of that. But the hardest part was convincing the other world that we were worth saving. Yeah. Because the government was not
remember Reagan wouldn't even say the word.
He didn't say the word, exactly.
It was a very tough time. There was a time when we would do these great stories about there not being any more infections in Australia and about the possibility of AIDS being eradicated by 2030. And with all the Trump cuts, et cetera, I don't see that happening, unfortunately. We just hope that we don't go backwards to what happened back then. Bruce, do you think that today's queer creatives really understand how much ground was broken back then?
I think the smart ones do.
Okay.
I do. I mean, I think a lot of younger guys who aren't paying attention to pretty much anything but their phones are probably not aware of what actually went on, or they view it as ancient history, and. But I think that the ones who have their minds are certainly aware of it. I mean, they've now understand what they come from.
Yeah.
And all of that. But we live in a very, very narcissistic society, and social media, I call it keyboard warfare, is really narcissism central. And if it didn't happen to you, it didn't happen.
It just didn't happen.
Minutes ago, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And we were much more interested in what had gone before than this generation. These last few generations are. It's what's immediately happening is all that really interests them. And I'm immediately happening, so I'm interested.
With all the, all the banned books and banning history lessons, you know what I mean? Like, I have met younger folks, Bruce, that never heard of Stonewall. You know, I mean, like, and it's scary as shit is what it is.
Well,
you know?
that particularly for me, that's scary. But I mean, in principle, just today, Texas A&M University told the philosophy department that they can no longer teach Plato because Plato was too woke. What the fuck? Plato? One of the original philosophers cannot be taught? Well, it's Texas, you know. What can I tell you?
Yeah, which is
the axiom of evil. And
well,
I know a lot of good people in Texas.
No, yeah, and Texas is great.
It's nuts what's going on there. Now, in of course the gay world, it's also, you know, kind of a little bit crazy. There is all of that, but it's nothing so extreme.
Yeah.
Nothing really crazy. Nothing that nutsy.
Nothing that nuts. Just you know, a little bit nuts.
I
Just
have to
not,
rack
you know.
my brain. Yeah.
Yeah, but Texas is like the carbon copy or our mirror image of Florida. Like every time Abbott does something over there, we wonder when is DeSantis going to do it here or vice versa.
When's Rhonda kicking in?
You know, Ron DeSantis, Lord.
Ron Disaster, we call him in L.A., but that's L.A.
I love that. We have like stickers that are Ron DeSantis that are him as a drag queen.
Right. She is a drag queen, Ron DeSantis, yeah.
Of course.
I know.
Let's talk about Captain Showbiz, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk about Captain Showbiz. So Captain Showbiz, a play that feels hilarious, chaotic, glamorous, and deeply personal.
Well, it is all of those things. It's all those things, but it's deeply personal, and I experienced it. It's not about me. It's principally about this guy who's no longer with us, who's named Alan Carr, who produced Grease and La Cage aux Folles on Broadway. And the Oscars were his kind of the end of his career because it was calamitous, and it was the first one that I wrote on because I had worked with him for years with Anne Margaret and doing her stage acts in Vegas and stuff like that, and he managed her for years. So he brought me into this, and I'd written for the Oscars unofficially before, and I've written unofficially since. But I mean, there were 25 shows in between that. But I survived. I'm an Oscar survivor.
I survived the Oscars. We're going to get T-shirts.
But he's a fascinating character. I mean, he's one of these guys I think people can identify with because he is a boy who just had a dream, and he got his dream, and he managed to crap all over it, as people do, and they don't realize they're doing it. And that's what I'm hoping comes across in the play, but it's also very funny and chock full of stories about all the insanity that goes on at the Oscars. Because it's still, even, you know, even with much lower ratings than it used to have, it's still the kind of thing people talk about.
100%. And so Harlan Starr, who is the main character, right? How much of him is fantasy, and how much of him is you?
No, it's almost all not fantasy. It's almost all Alan Carr, but with some other things added from that. There is a character that is me, but I want to see how that plays. The writer of the show, because he, like I did on that show, I kind of sat back, and you couldn't fight him. You couldn't. You just had to let it roll, and so I was sitting on my hands a lot on that show. taking credit for the good stuff.
Why tell this story now, Bruce? I mean, like, you've done the Oscars for so many years. You've had such a long, prolific life, like a career.
I think when I wrote the book, and the book was, I've done all these podcasts with young guys and girls who asked me, how did the Star Wars holiday special happen?
Oh, God.
Who said yes to the Brady Bunch Variety Hour or the Paul Lynde Halloween special? Or Cole Porter in Paris with Connie Stevens. Who said yes to this? And have they paid their debt to society? So I thought it's kind of like a half-assed memoir. You know, I was at the point in my life where I could write a memoir. So, but I thought I would do it about all of those shows because they all show up on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody watches them, and I thought I wrote these before these people were born.
The Star Wars one, especially. That was just, will go down in infamy forever.
It started with Star Wars and the Brady Bunch because those are two brands that just you can't kill them. They're current. There's always some new thing happening, and people are aware of them. So.
Yeah.
And the Star Wars especially.
Oof, I can't wait to hear that.
You know, Star Wars became the Scientology of the nerd.
It really did. There's a whole cult that follows that
God,
still.
It's religious and terrifying, scary how they come after people.
The play wrestles with cancel culture. It wrestles with ego, activism. Did writing feel cathartic for you?
Oh, yeah, actually, because I got to get all these stories off my chest and opinions about stuff. I mean, obviously, I think we were not woke in that era, but there were network censors who were as ridiculous as anything. They were the only wokesters, but nobody ever called them that, of course. But and so there are stories in there that will resonate because it's all about what you can and can't say now, and how you can't. Everything is an insult, and everybody is sensitive, and I understand that because I'm a member of several minorities, so I'm sensitive. But it's all calibrated. It's all, you have to have a sense of humor at the same time. So it's easy for me to say with my white privilege. People said, "You have white privilege." I said, "I'm gay and I'm Jewish." And where's the privilege? Excuse me. The white privilege? No, the guy in the Ozarks has white privilege.
Yeah.
If he wants to use it. But I kept thinking, I had all these, people say you can't do that, and I said I never felt that I came from privilege. But of course, I learned that compared to other people, I knew what it meant.
So a coma, a hospital gown, mentally upgraded to a caftan.
Well, because Alan wore caftans, he was famous for wearing caftans. And so he has to, as I say in the play, even in a coma, you can look fabulous.
Because that feels very you right there, right? Like
it is me quoting him, I'm telling you. Right, he didn't say that, but this is something that would trickle off of his tongue. I have no question about it. I had him in mind.
I love that. What a beautiful legacy for him.
The people who remember him, it's weird because he died 30 years ago, and it was a very sad end. But people vanish, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think of people who I still feel like they're around, and they've been gone for so many decades.
Like who?
Oh, like Peter Allen, who I wrote with and did
he
all
was
of
married
his
to.
He was married to Liza Minnelli.
Yes.
Won an Oscar for writing When You Walk Between the Moon and New York City, and he was, it was a big stage star in his time. But he died in '92, and it seems to me like, oh my God, that's yesterday, but it's not yesterday. It's 30
years ago. I know, but that's like old Hollywood glamour, versus what we have now. That's kind of just like modern chaos.
I agree. Modern chaos is absolutely right. But I watched that show Hacks, and
I love that show. Gene Smart.
I love that show. But to me, the only part of it that's authentic is the stuff about the Hannah Einbinder, who is Lorraine Newman's daughter from SNL, the original cast. And so I knew as a baby, and now she's playing this character, and she's a young female writer in Hollywood, comedy writer, and her stuff is written by young female comedy writers, so it's authentic. They're writing stuff they know about. Nobody on that show is writing about the dinosaur that Gene Smart plays, because she's based on Joan Rivers largely, and with some Toady Field and Phyllis Diller thrown in. And I even wonder if those names are recognizable to a lot of people at this point, because they've been gone for a while. Joan still, but the others are, it disappears. So nothing that they write for her strikes me as being authentic. She's not funny when she's on stage playing that character. And she's a great actress, and how great she is that she makes it funny. She makes it feel like
she makes it believable.
She makes it believable, and I think that she's not well served on that show. But that's because I was there.
Yeah,
I wrote for Joan, and I know what that gig is like.
So Hack should hire you.
Well,
you should be writing for her.
They generally have one person a year from the old school. And it's generally a woman. Carol Leifer did it. Janice Hirsch did it. These are wonderful writers I worked with. And I don't think they'll bring a guy in to do it, I think.
But you're not a regular guy,
no,
Bruce.
It's true. I mean, I may have that advantage. We'll see.
The play on Friday and on Saturday, if someone comes in expecting laughs, what surprises them instead?
Oh, that it's human. that it's not just caricature, that it's about a real person and a real Lyndon Lavin who read it right before she passed.
You're killing me! You're killing me!
She was a great.
What was it? Mid-Century Modern. Did you watch the show?
Yeah, I did. It was a lot. I liked it.
Me too. I mean, and she was so great. Her timing had not been lost. Like she was so on point.
I have a feeling she's going to win an Emmy posthumously this year.
So she read this play that we're going to hear the rating for Friday and Saturday. She read it.
She read it. She was a mentor of mine and a friend of mine, and she said it's a play about loneliness, and don't let that get away from you. It's about loneliness. It's about what this person in his own little world, he got what he wanted and he made a mess of it, and and that's funny, but it's sad at the same time. And I said, okay, well now I really want to do it.
Wow.
I really want to do it.
Wow. So the reading will be Friday at 8 p.m. at Gray Box and then Saturday at 2 p.m. So explain to me what a reading is, okay? So these incredible actors that you got locally are going to be playing out this play, and then whatever doesn't fly might not make it to the next.
That's right. Well,
is that how that works?
Yeah, we're doing it for an audience.
Us.
Hopefully a big
See
audience.
you there.
Come on down. Because we want to hear a reaction, and after the show as well. So it'll probably be actors sitting on stage with music stands and scripts, and we will be reading the play, and they'll be playing different parts and all that. And I'll be playing Harlan, the lead, which I wrote for Nathan Lane. Right? But he's gone serious. He's doing Death of a Salesman on Broadway. So he said, I don't want to do this kind of stuff on stage. I do it on television. I've done this on stage a lot.
Wow, so you wrote that for Nathan?
So I did write it for Nathan.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, he was my inspiration because I think he knew Alan. But aside from that, I mean, he gets it. He gets that.
He gets it.
A kid who has dreams, who creates himself as a show business personality and gets to live that role until it suddenly he hits a wall with it because of his behaviors.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll listen to what the audience is, and we'll feel how the thing goes as a performance piece. So far, it's just been on the page.
Yeah. Wow. When did you write this? When did you get this all together?
I started writing it during COVID, of course, because everybody was home doing things. I started writing it after I'd done this initial round of podcasts with these young people who asked about these awful shows, and some of them asked about the Oscars. And I thought it had been gestating because he was such a fabulous character. And I had different ways of doing it. I wrote it once. The first time with a lot of people, it was like Auntie Mame. It had a million characters in it, and no one can afford to do that anymore. So I wrote it as a monologue, and I said, no one's going to want to learn all these words. And so then I turned it to it's kind of a monologue, but it's got other actors, me and some other actors interspersed. So that's something else I'm going to look for to see if that works.
Well, and I love that you're having this reading at the Gray Box Theater. So I love the Gray Box Theater. They've been around for a couple of months, and in those few months, they have really been uplifting our community in such a way. And they are having big name stars like yourself, but they're also helping local folks, to get their word out. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love everybody over there at Gray Box. I just met Sharon Gless because of them.
Yeah, so I understand she was there. For some show. Was she there for
a documentary that they were playing there? But I mean, it was just so incredible to meet her.
She's terrific. I love Sharon.
Why Wilton Manors? Why Gray Box? Why did you want to try this out there?
My friend Gary Van Horn lives in Wilton Manors, and he is an impresario, and he wanted to have a theater where he could just present things, and so this is all him working this up. And I said, last time I was down here, I said, well, I think I'd like to do a reading of this play, and he said, great, let's do it.
Oh,
so there was no question. I wasn't going to do it anyplace else.
I love that. What's your guilty pleasure? What do you do when you're home by yourself without your shirt on, without the beautiful Carol Burnett on your shirt?
Of course.
Watch porn. And thank you. We are, and let's talk about Fab Scout. No, but I mean, like, do you watch RuPaul's Drag Race?
Well, I've been on it 5 or 6 times.
You have, yeah, but that doesn't mean you watch it.
Mentor, and I was a judge, and I was Santa Claus one year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't watch it too much anymore because I got used to the formula. I'll tell you what has happened is when I started on RuPaul, the drag queens were either absolutely gorgeous lip syncers who looked beautiful and just lips and didn't do any comedy. Their idea was to be fabulous. And then the others were like Bianca Del Rio, who worked every night in clubs and had a personality and was funny. And I said, it's apples and oranges. You can't ask these people to do what they can't do. However, over the years with the success of it, the little queens at home watching have discovered that in order to win, you have to do everything. You have to be funny. You have to make your own clothes. You have to look good.
You have to dance.
You have to do the death drop without losing.
Without killing yourself?
At least one of your.
That's what you were doing.
Yeah.
That's why you're hurt. You were trying
drop.
to attempt the death drop.
Attempting a death drop, and I'm low-hanging fruit. What can I say?
What do you watch then? Do you watch White Lotus?
Oh, I love White Lotus.
Oh, I love me some
Although
White
I have
Lotus.
to say, I got a little caveat. That,
Please.
The first one, and I know Mike Whaite, and I said this to him. I said, I was sad at the end of the first White Lotus where the gay guy had to be murdered. That smacked of old school stuff. And there was somebody else in the second one that I think that was gay. I can't remember. That was well. I did love that the whole thing was about. Oh my God! I accidentally gave my brother a hand
by mistake.
while we were both on Senegalese Thunderfuck or whatever they were dropping in that Thai jungle. But no, I'm a huge fan of it, and the last one had a little bit of padding, a lot of chittering monkeys, and a lot of gorgeous things, But I'm anxious to see the next one, to see what he comes up with.
Yeah.
French, I understand. I guess this is the third or the fourth, I forget. So there was one that was in Italy that was also wonderful.
Yeah.
And that had Jennifer Coolidge saying, the gays are trying to kill me.
The gays are trying to kill me. I mean, we all wanted her to come back from the dead.
Yeah. Well, I think he had done, with the two things, he had done everything he could do with her.
Yeah.
And so he had to kill her off. But I'm sorry, it was the gays who had to kill her. But it was so ridiculous that, that they weren't trying to kill her. I mean,
no, but it was
else
hysterical.
Wound up killing her.
And people had T-shirts and everything. The gays are trying to kill me. Like
I have that shirt.
Do you?
Of course.
I love that.
Please, I love that. I have a million T-shirts, a whole White Lotus collection.
I love that. Do you watch other award shows? I mean, since you were so connected to the Oscars, I know, like Golden Globes is coming up this week. Critics' Choice we just passed. Do you watch them all? Like I'm a fiend for it.
See what they do. Yeah, exactly. And of course,
To Judge. So you watch To Judge.
I watched To Judge. There's a whole cadre of young writers who were writing those shows, and I look down my nose at the TV screen as I watch it, thinking, "Oh, you could have done that. You could have had a better joke there."
Yeah.
But they suffer from the usual stuff, which is that a lot of people who aren't funny are asked to be funny, and or asked to be serious, and they can't do that either. They give a lot of awards on those shows, Golden Globes and Critics' Choice. Most of them are acting awards, so most of the audience continues to be interested.
Yeah.
The Oscars, somebody has to come out and give a sound editing award, which is, believe me, a challenge.
Those are the awards that need to give off camera.
Oh man, we had a horse give it one year. I think a bear, Gentle Ben. Was giving, don't even
want to
ask.
know. All right, Bruce. So drop the pen, unclench the halo, and loosen up the caftan, because we are in Wilton Manors, where the martinis are stiff, the lighting lies, and nobody answers politely. So this is my favorite show. My favorite game is called Say What with Faye What. Okay?
All right.
It's fast, it's filthy, and it's freaking fabulous. All right? No thinking, just instinct, or whatever's left of it, whatever it is. All right? 2 choices, no context, no rewrites. Just say it like you mean it, or like you're about to be quoted, because you never know. All right? So say what with Faye What. All right? Here we go. Old Hollywood glamour or modern Hollywood with an HR department?
Old Hollywood. Old Hollywood glamour. Even if I can't wear a T-shirt.
Even if you can't wear a T-shirt. Bette Midler at her meanest or Cher when she's bored?
They're identical, actually.
Write the joke they'll steal or bomb honestly and sleep at night?
Write the joke that they'll steal? Oh, write the joke that they'll steal.
Because, you're used to that.
I can make sure they don't sleep at night.
At night, because you're going to remind them that it's your joke.
I'm going to send the enforcer over.
Backstage at the Oscars or front row watching someone else steal your joke?
Oh, backstage. Backstage.
Caftan for comfort or sequins that say, I survived?
Oh, caftan for comfort.
With your new, what is it? You're not wearing Birkenstocks. You're wearing what?
I'm wearing Crocs. I'm Crocs because that's all I can fit the foot brace into.
That's the
I
story.
survived just to reddened of Gloria Gaynor, who has become the enemy.
Don't even get me started on that. Being the smartest person in the room or the reason the room exists?
Oh, the reason the room exists, of course.
Yes.
Feed the ego.
A perfect joke no one hears or a messy one everyone remembers?
Oh, a messy one. Everyone remembers. Absolutely.
Legacy carved in stone or one last laugh that burns the house down?
Oh, legacy carved in stone. Why not?
Rehab chic or red carpet realness? Same gown, different headline?
I would say rehab chic.
Yes. Being loved or being quoted?
Being loved. Being quoted. Well, being loved and being quoted.
Yes.
Oscar Wilde was loved and quoted. So.
Well, and I think that you are loved and you are quoted, just to let you know. Bruce?
Sometimes that's why you're quoted.
Because you're loved?
Yeah, sometimes.
And because you're super smart. You're smart as hell. And you say the things that we don't know how to say sometimes. That is what you do,
Thank you. That's
Bruce,
wonderful.
Before I let you go, I want to tell you something that we do here on the Faye What Show, right? At the end of every interview, we just don't say goodbye. We say it together. On the count of 3, we both say, Faye, what? Okay? I'm going to go. All right? However you feel it, however dramatic you want it, however it comes through. All right? Maybe with a laugh or not. It doesn't matter. Okay? You ready?
All right.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Faye, what? All right.
It's not the first time I've said that.
I have a feeling.
Over lunch with Faye Dunaway, I think that.
Oh, I love her. That's who I was named after.
All right.
Wow. All right. Can you do another Faye what? Do it. 1, 2, 3.
Faye what?
Yes. All right. That is the legendary Bruce Vilanch.
That's right.
Follow him on social media at Bruce Vilanch, right?
I guess, yeah. You can, WeGotBruce.com. That's good.
Oh, I like that one too.
Yep.
Don't miss his wickedly funny, unexpectedly touching new play, Captain Showbiz, live on stage January 9th and 10th at Grey Box Theater in Wilton Manors. Tickets are available now at showpass.com/Captain Showbiz. Bruce, thank you for your brilliance, your honesty, your laughter, and for spending the morning with me. I really, really appreciate it.
It was a treat. Thank you.
All right. Till next time, Bruce. Thank you so much.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Rex Rogosch, and I thank you for joining us. On behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Alex Morash, Larry Farver, and Dr. Bobby Huen. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night.
Night.